that's clearly a hidden passage that's been boarded up. That's where a door was, and you've boarded it up for some reason. And I was walking around going, you could film a horror film in here very easily.
What sort of derelict building was like abandoned building, like a?
Yeah, so it was where is it? It's called the Old Vicarage in Henley. And so I was like, oh, it's a because it was on the paperwork it was described as a 5-bedroom, 3-floor house.
Oh wow.
Completely wrong. It's a 10-bedroom mansion with a
Yeah.
swimming pool, a basement, like a built-in safe room,
Yeah. Like a panic
and
room.
yeah, they had a ballroom, a stables,
Yeah.
a third floor that was hidden away until you actually found the door.
Yeah.
And I was walking around going, no, this thing was built years ago. This has been built upon, and they're like, okay, right, cool. That passageway, let's build a wall around that so you can't get in there anymore. And me and one of the guys I work with, whilst the groundskeeper was distracted by some of our other colleagues, we were like, right, let's go have a look. So we snuck up the stairs, had to avoid all the pothole, like the gaps in the floor, and we eventually found the third floor. And there was one room right at the top. You could see the outline of the door, and they
Yeah.
put these big pieces of wood across it and nailed it shut. And I was like, all right, there's a hidden passage there. And as we looked around, I was like, there's also this room was just covered in dead flies. So it's like, all right,
Ooh.
there's
It could be an animal.
it could be an animal. It's like something has clearly died in here. And we worked out that no one has lived, that the last people to live in that house left just before the lockdown.
Oh, quite
Yeah,
very recent then.
very recent. But this place was derelict,
Yeah.
and we were like, okay. And it's been bought by a guy. The guy I bought is stupidly rich. And we were like, oh, what's he gonna do with it? He went, oh, he's tearing it down. We were like, no, you can't tear it down. It's like you could build this place to be such a weird, like, haunted mansion place.
Yeah.
I've got his name. I might just send him an email saying, please don't tear it down.
Oh, I'm sure he'll listen to you and not make any money out of it.
Yeah, no.
That's there aren't many derelict abandoned places. Like you see maybe YouTube videos of urban explorers. We found this abandoned mental asylum, but like that, it's like 1 in a million. They're not just out there.
Yeah,
Like
no.
England is such a small country now because wherever you go to the New Forest or you'll still hear a road. There's nowhere really isolated.
Unless you get really out in the sticks.
If you went up to Scotland, maybe in the mountains.
Yeah.
But there's none of these old buildings, these mysterious buildings that are from 50 to 100 years ago. Really, there's not many left that are or say that ones that are left that aren't boarded up and fenced off with security. Most of them have security, cameras and alarms, and
Most
it's
of
a
them,
shame because that would be really fun to go and explore.
Yeah, I used to watch a lot of urban explorer videos. They were quite cool. I must admit, I was sat there going, oh, I'd love to do that. But then having walked around one in the daytime, and every point I put my foot, I was like, am I going to fall through the floor here? It's like, no, okay. It's like, oh. And I was like, you wouldn't be able to do this in the dark, because if you fell through the floor, I mean, you're fucked.
That's the trouble with it as well, because also having to explain, say you went to the hospital. Yeah, you had to get an ambulance from this place because you couldn't get to a hospital. Then you'd have to explain, what were you doing there? How did you do it? Like, it's not worth the risk.
Some of the ones that you see on the Urban Explorer videos, I mean, some of them are quite cool. You think, oh, we went to an abandoned church. You're like, all right, well, that's usually they're 2 stories. They're not big, pretty cool. But it's when you see them, people are like, oh, we've gone to an abandoned hospital that's not been used in 20 years. They've left all the stuff, like all the biological waste is in it, and you're like, no, it's like that is just a health hazard right there. Imagine if you walked into like a biological testing area, like, oh, there's loads of broken bottles. I'm like, any sensible person would sit there and think, I should probably leave this room because I've probably just sucked in like 10,000 diseases.
You instantly just reminded me of it's a complete tangent. An English horror film, very indie horror film called The Borderlands. It's from 2013. It's a POV film, and these guys are trying to capture some paranormal activity in this church. But in this church, they find a secret door that goes down into the basement. So you just kind of reminded me, like, it could be like an abandoned church with all these secret, century-old rooms that you never know. I bet there's loads of churches or buildings like that, old historical buildings like that with secret rooms.
Oh yeah, easily. the Borderlands episode will be coming soon. Now I've got this on
I
my
think
list.
you'll like it. I think you'll like it. It's
Well,
good.
We'll do that. We'll do that as our next independent or indie film.
Yeah.
After, because we haven't done one since Pin. We need to do a new one like Pin.
So your camera's working.
Yes.
No. Your camera's not working. You have your camera.
I have my camera. Yes. So
The internet's working.
oh my god, I almost had to send you a text. I was going to say he's going to hate me because I sat there. I was looking around for my stuff, and I was like, well, I've got the microphone on a little stand. I don't want to move it just in case it goes a bit weird.
Yeah.
So I've got a little table microphone stand. I was like, well, I've got the microphone, so I had to have brought back my stuff. And I was like, well, I've got the webcam. All right. And then obviously the Ethernet cable, there's nothing I can do that until I get an adapter.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I've got headphones that won't make a weird noise, so that's fine. And then I was like, where's my green screen gone? I'm like, oh my god, I left the green screen. I was like, no, it's in my car, that's fine. So I went and got the green screen. I was like, yeah, cool. And I was looking around, I was like, I don't have a microphone cable. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. I was like, I've left it at home. It's in my PC. And I was like, oh crap. And then I remember that we have an electrics cupboard. And I went in the electrics cupboard and I'm like, I was like, I have the cable. I was like, yes. And it's a better cable than the last one, which is why I think the microphone was being a bit funny.
Well, that mic you've got there, the Blue Snowball, is I believe it's a USB-B.
It is.
Which printers always use as well. It's kind of like a chunky output.
Yes, it's the fat one. But the last cable, every time I plugged it in, it would always be a little bit loose. So I reckon it wasn't quite. I mean, that was the cable that came with the mic. So I reckon it's probably the last person who bought it was, jacked it or something.
Oh, yeah, your camera's there. You sound better. The internet's still holding together. So we can finally, I've been setting up for this, we can finally get around to talking about
The silence.
Did it not play? Oh,
nope.
Damn it. I had this set up for so long. Let's see if I can play it louder.
We'll put some tumbleweed noise in that bit.
We're going to finally get around to talking about...
Okay. You literally, as soon as you played it, you went talking about it, and oh no. We'll edit put the sound. Tell you what, hold up the phone and just put the sound clip in. So there you go. We're finally going to talk about...
To the video, folks, it's meant to be Ozzy Osbourne, Hellraiser. Oh. Hellraiser! That was what it was meant to... Well, the bit failed.
It's
I
all
tried.
Right, don't worry.
I spent a good 5 minutes on that.
Look, it wouldn't be a Dreadcast episode without a technical fault. So it's all good. We're carrying on the tradition. So it's
cheers,
fine.
Everyone. You're right.
Cheers.
Welcome back to the Dreadcast, one and all. This is episode 27.
We're almost there.
We are almost... That will probably be around the time of our 1 year anniversary, which was in January, right?
So we've got... we got one...
Or maybe
couple
just
more
the end of the year.
Planned?
Yeah.
It might just be the end of the year, yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
We haven't even talked about what a year episode would be.
I have a few ideas. I actually have a few ideas. And I've had an idea which I've started noting down, which I'm going to try and implement into future episodes, of a little fun thing we can do. I'm going to make up, like, not a roulette wheel, but like, I don't know what you call it, a GIF or a video that will just run through like 100 images, and when you click on one, you click stop, and it will land on the picture.
Okay.
So I've got 3 categories that I think we're gonna do, and what I think would be quite fun to do is try and come up with a horror film scenario. And I've got a category of killers, I've got a category of locations, and a category of weapons. So say, for instance, you run the killers, and you click, and it lands on Pinhead, for instance. Seeing as we're talking about Hellraiser. Then we go to locations. I've got loads of different random locations. We click on it, randomizer, there we go. And it lands on...
Abandoned Vicarage.
I'll add that. I haven't got that. But let's say it lands on Holiday Resort. And then you've got the weapons. Say it lands on a 2x4 bit of wood. So,
that'd be so interesting.
There's a horror film there to work out with Pinhead at a holiday resort, terrorizing a holiday resort with a 2x4 bit of wood.
Oh my god, you could have so many fun ideas with this. I mean, my first one that just popped in my head was Pinhead goes on holiday. He goes to, I don't know, Kos, one of the Greek islands.
Yeah.
He's lying down, trying to get a tan. Someone walks by, spills sticky stuff all over his pins. He gets pissed and goes, right, time to do some killing. Looks around and goes, oh, look, bit of 2x4. Off he goes.
So in that theory, Pinhead really is the protagonist because someone has angered him.
Yeah, I mean, you can flip it. I mean, what would I mean, serial killers, slashers might have to go on a holiday every now and then. Although, to be fair, if I was Pinhead, I wouldn't go somewhere that hot because imagine all that metal he's got would just like start to sear his noggin.
He's very pasty as well. Very pale, very pasty.
He's more pasty than we are.
Yeah,
we live in the UK. We are pasty.
I look very big egg face right now after the haircut. But yeah, I'm going to try and do this randomizer, this horror what if for the next few episodes, and we'll see what we can do. Do it at the beginning of the episodes. I have two things just before we get into Hellraiser, and yes, folks, we're going to be talking about 2022's
HULU
Hellraiser. HULU Hellraiser. It came out beginning of October, so we're a little bit late to the party.
Yes.
It was beginning, but we've had other stuff to do during that time. Two things to talk to you about, which we need to look into in the future. I watched Barbarian.
Yes, you did.
Barbarian is possibly it's up there as my top horror films of the year.
Oh, okay.
Super fun. Super fun. It's just great.
Nice.
And I'm not going to say too much because we'll probably do an episode on it. And I also watched Speak No Evil.
Speak No Evil.
Speak No Evil, it has the same sort of feeling afterwards as if you watched The Strangers or Eden Lake, where you just feel deflated and upset, and it's bleak. Nice. And the next morning at work, I felt so down. I felt so upset.
I'm gonna have to watch this then. This sounds
fantastic.
I mean,
it's fantastic.
I'm seeing Megan in January because that looks interesting.
Yep.
I need to watch Chucky season 2 because that looks interesting. They have announced that there is Crystal Lake, which is coming out, which is the prequel to Friday the 13th.
Thoughts on that?
I'm gonna watch it. I mean, if it's not good, I'll just disregard it. So I've got to watch that. But I have seen Barbarian advertised, so I do have to watch that.
Barbarian's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm gonna give that a shot. Yeah, I'll have a look at it. Okay.
Yeah. So just two little films that I would highly recommend to everyone, but definitely recommend them because this year has been insane for horror. It's been fantastic, and at some point we will also need to do our end of the year roundup because we only did a half year. Remember, back in the summer.
Oh, we did. Yes.
So
we did up to June. I think it was June. I remember it was June because it was baking hot. We were like, let's just get this over and done with.
Yeah, that's right. So yes, Hulu Hellraiser 2022. In my first opinion of the film, wasn't great, wasn't shit. It was okay. I thought it was. I mean, I quite enjoyed it. I liked that they didn't try to make 1987 Hellraiser. They didn't, and I really liked that about it. They went, okay, we're going to do Hellraiser, and I don't know if it. I think it's a hard reboot they've done because they've completely changed it, which is which is fair enough. They're allowed to do that. But I really like the fact that they say, right, we're going to do our own version, but we're not going to copy the original, and they didn't. Yeah, which is really nice. They completely changed it, and I will admit it's not as good as the original. The original one, I mean, is far superior because the original one was cracking. But at the same time, I was like, well, it's not too bad. There were a few bits, I must admit, I was sitting there watching thinking, just get on with it, come on. But, I mean, that's just the way it goes. It's, as a reboot, it doesn't like walk all over the original. It kind of acts as its own standalone, but still acts as a reboot compared to Hellraiser Revelations that came out in 2011. Yeah. I've not seen all of it because it was so bad, and it's not Doug Bradley playing Pinhead. It's a completely different actor. That was a failed, in theory, reboot. I didn't realise because I think we've talked about this. I think I asked you this when we did the trailer review, like what your background with the franchise was. And I think we're kind of the same. We've both not seen like every single Hellraiser film. No, I didn't realise this is the 11th in the franchise. Yeah, I didn't realise there was 10 before this.
It's one of the longest running horror franchises. I think the longest is Halloween. That's got 15 films. I think it's 15. It's around about that.
You talk, I'll count.
So yeah, I believe it goes Halloween.
Oh wait, you're doing the
Then
Halloween ones. Oh, I can
no,
do that. That's easy.
I'm just trying to work out. I think in terms of
Oh,
longest running franchises, I think
hmm.
it's Halloween first, then it's Texas Chainsaw, then I think it's Hellraiser, and then after
Puppet
that, I think it's either Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. They're round about the same.
Puppet Master is in there. Puppet Master has, I
Oh my gosh, we
believe,
need to do Puppet Master.
nine. I believe
Oh,
9 or 10 films. I think.
Puppet Master is great. Well,
Yeah.
it's not if you've got a fear of dolls, but it's just weird. And then they did that crossover with Toys of Evil.
Yep.
Or
And there's a couple
Toys?
of spin-offs. Yeah, there were a couple of spin-offs. Demonic Toys.
Yes, Demonic Toys.
Yeah,
I
Demonic
mean,
Toys. Yeah, Puppet Master's
we
a
could
long-running franchise.
we could do Dead Silence, but I really have to push myself to watch that because
Yes,
I hate that film. It's so creepy. I hate it.
we could do
And not
episodes on our fears in horror.
yeah. So I mean, yeah.
But yeah, like I don't think many people would know really that this is the 11th in the franchise. I think
I didn't
most
either,
people
but
know maybe of 1, 2, and 3, or 1 and 2, and then oh, there was a third, and then there's this one.
yeah.
But
I distinctly remember watching the first and the second. I've seen Hellraiser 2.
yes,
I've seen a few, but I think again the problem is that sequelitis just went walloped it, and
yeah.
I went, nah, I've had enough.
So we had
I think the ones where I knew it wasn't Doug Bradley, I was just thinking, nah, there's no point. Because
no,
I think the issue with slashers is if it's like a what do you call it, a slasher with a face, so to say,
yeah.
you kind of want that person to do it. So obviously, Doug Bradley, Pinhead, and then of course you've got, oh my god, his name's escaped me, the guy that plays Freddy.
Well, Robert Englund is Freddy Krueger, but I think
Yeah,
that's more of a case. Same with Doug Bradley. It's you get more of the face.
yeah,
Someone
that's
behind
what
the
I mean.
mask, it can be kind of disguised a bit.
Yeah, well, that's why with like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, so long as you've got a dude who's 6'9", or the gigantic, a gigantic lad to play it, you're like, well, I know it's Jason because it's the mask that they wear. But again, I think if it's a guy that his face is the killer,
Yeah,
you want that person. Anytime you change that, fans are like, nah, no, 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 no. Unlike
Well,
this one they changed it completely, and it was good. The
yeah,
new
it did
Pinhead
work.
was pretty good.
Yeah,
And I think it worked because it's not the first time that Pinhead's been a lady. In the comics, it was obviously Kirsty from the first Hellraiser. She becomes the new Pinhead. So I reckon when they did this, fans were like, "Okay, this has been done before, so we're not going to think, ooh, no, don't do that."
yeah. It's not fully based on the one you actually described, the story you actually described. But I think it's loosely.
Yeah, it's not.
They took the idea and sort of went with it for their own interpretation. Because it's not
Yeah,
Kirsty.
no, it's not Kirsty. It'd be cool if they brought Kirsty back for it, but then obviously the thing with that is I reckon that would connect the two films too much, and I reckon they
Yeah.
really were trying to go right. No, that's the original, cool,
Yeah.
but this is us. Nothing connects apart from the lament configuration. That's probably the only
Yeah.
thing that connects.
It's almost like Rob Zombie's take on Halloween. Different
Hmm.
universe. Different universe, but same ideology, same story in theory,
Who knows? I mean, this film's set in the States, whereas the original one, it's set in the UK. I think it's set in the UK. It's set in Sheffield or somewhere. I don't know, somewhere in the UK. And
This
you
one.
could affect. Yeah, this one's set in the States.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, this one is set in the States. The original is the UK. And the
Yep.
house itself, I didn't realise, is in Dulles Hill.
Oh.
Near Willesden Green. Yeah. A very side note here, quickly. A
Oh.
friend of mine was working in a studio near there, and she mentioned to me, yeah, the Hellraiser house is just around the corner in Dulles Hill. So that will be a horror visit soon, I think. I'd love to go see that.
I mean, I'm one of the HCV drivers that just left where I work. He now pulls movie trailers, so he pulls all the trailers for the film sets. And I was
Oh,
like, right,
nice.
if you get any horror films, give me a call. Like, I will pull a sickie. So yeah, I didn't realize it was that close.
Here it
Oh,
is. Cotton House. It doesn't look like a let's say a horror house now, but
oh, we're gonna have
yeah.
to go visit that.
I feel like
Oh
I've actually
yes,
driven past. Look at it. I'm going to send you this in Discord. This is
Boston Green.
this.
But yeah, that's
There you go. So it obviously didn't look like this in the film, but yeah, it's
no
what it is.
way.
Pretty cool little
That's amazing.
thing to go
Oh,
see.
we're gonna have to go there.
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, this I think we both had the same sort of opinions of this film.
yeah, it's
It was okay.
it's alright. It's okay.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Would recommend it.
I would, yeah. If you've never seen, I think, like you said, if you've never seen the original Hellraiser, you know, this won't tarnish that if you then watch it. But if you have seen the original Hellraiser, it's not the original. So just go into thinking it's just a different film.
Yes, you can easily start here.
And I think that's sometimes that's the problem with reboots. They go, we're going to be so much better than the original, and then when they make it, you just sit there going, no, because we know you're trying to outdo the original. Whereas I think with this one, they just went, we're just making our own. We're not doing anything like it.
Yeah,
Good.
completely.
It's a lot bigger than the original. I will say that. You can tell there was a much bigger budget for this film. Whew.
Yeah, the first one, it does feel a bit indie at times. The original.
It does, yeah. It's especially the grainy. Well,
yes,
it's 1987, so yeah, it has a grainy type look. So they probably
like
filmed it
TV
on quite a like a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah,
film they make, and they're like, it's never going to do well. Just release it on TV. Go away.
But the effects are still top notch. But just the way it looks, it doesn't look made for cinema.
No, definitely not. It's not a cinema film. But then it's sometimes the films that they don't think are going to do well end up being the cult smash hits. So Hellraiser, probably when people saw it at the time, went, I don't get it. But now people are like, oh yeah, that film is top notch.
Did you when you first watching Hellraiser, did you have the same problem as me? Is that I didn't fully understand the story the first couple of times I watched it about how the box linked to Pinhead, why people got chained. And it took me a few times to really understand what the story was, like how it's about like sacrifice. So the person, the box holder, shall we say, has to sacrifice people to then get their pleasure, their sought after desire.
Yeah, I must admit, the first time I watched it, because that was kind of my first step into, I guess, body horror. It's very body horror. This franchise.
Oh yeah.
And I was sitting there a lot of time going, oh my! It's a bit like when I watched Event Horizon for the first time, because there's some incredible body horror in that. And I was sitting there going, ooh! It's like, because when the chains go in the hooks, I was just sitting there going, ooh!
I was the same. Yeah.
It really put my teeth on edge, but. So I think it took me a few watches to finally go, oh, okay, I see now. I must admit, that was the first time, especially when they Frank Skeleton comes up.
Yeah.
I just sat there watching, going, this is incredible. How are they doing this? It was mind blowing. Which I think I must admit, this film, the Hulu, but 2022 version, there were bits in it. I was like, that's CGI though. It's like, it didn't look as good as the original, but.
But did you grasp the concept of how the reason for the box and the reason why Pinhead and the cenobite?
Not really.
See that's what took me a while, and I feel like this film did a really good job of explaining why. Say for instance, the beginning of the film, as we get into it, we got the eccentric millionaire Roland
Boyd, yes,
has this random party. I never understood why this party was happening, and.
He's rich. Throw parties.
He's eccentric, and then he's throwing this party and lures this one guy who is not important for the rest of the film to the box and says, "Well, you solve it." And as he's solving it, it cuts him, which makes blood trickle into the box, and then the box starts to change into a new configuration. So I feel like from that point onwards, like right at the beginning, the film is already describing to you how the box works in a way and how.
Yeah.
What he's after, he's after whatever pleasure he's seeking.
Yeah, it's
because you don't get that in the first one. It's all about I can't remember her
No,
name. I
it's
can't remember
Frank.
her name.
It's
Frank and
I want to say Ali. I think it's Ali. No, it's not Ali.
the evil woman.
She's horrible. Let's
She is
have a look on
horrible.
the
She's
cast.
very
Julia.
80s. Julia. She's then constantly luring men back because she needs the blood to go into the box to build Frank back up.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I feel like that wasn't explained as well as it is in this film.
Yeah, I think the first Hellraiser was much more focused more on Kirsty and the relationship with her father, and then as she goes into the house, she starts to uncover, the dark
Yeah.
background of her family, and then of course she finds the box and opens it. That's when all hell breaks loose, quite literally. I didn't get my notes. Where are my notes? But yeah, Roland Voigt, it gives away his character already, because especially when you go in that big room and they walk around all the little exhibits. I just remember looking at it going, this dude has some messed up interests. I mean, these are some hardcore like torture devices. And yeah, they are. So you kind of know that he's got I think the BDSM or sadomasochism traits to him, because I mean you wouldn't have these things unless you were very interested in that kind of culture. Yeah, culture, that's the word.
Yeah.
I did like the fact that they've changed the lament box, where in the original film it was the square. That's all you had, was a little square, and you solved the puzzle and it went opens. Whereas this one, like you said, they solve a bit and that big ass blade just right through your hand.
Yeah. I mean,
Sucks in.
to me, as a prop maker, I know I mentioned before, that's my favorite part of Hellraiser. I love that box, the design of it, how the mechanics of it work, and especially like you said with this one, there's so many more ways it can be configured.
I think there's 6. I think there's 6 ways. 6 ways. I think there's 6 ways.
Yeah, I didn't actually write them down, but
it's like the set. It's either 6 or 7. It's like the 6 or 7 stages of grief. I think it's the best way to describe it.
Well, they all begin with L.
They do, yeah. It's like, was it L? Yeah, lust.
Here we go.
Whatever they are. There we go.
I got it. So we got lament is life.
That's it.
Lament configuration is Hellraiser puzzle box. Original cubic state. So lamented life is the cube state. Law, knowledge. Law configuration is the second. Does it say what shape that takes? Takes the shape of an 8-sided diamond. Superimposed onto a cube, creating a chaotic angular shape. So it's like the cube with the diamond coming out of it. Lordarunt is love.
Okay.
So love configuration. The box takes form of 2 pyramids merging, symbolizing a pair of lovers. Yeah. Liminal sensation. Takes the form of 2 intersecting trapezoid-like shapes.
Something like that kind of.
Roland Voigt used this configuration the first time searching for the sensation beyond that which could be found on Earth.
Yes, that's right. Because he reveals that he's tried and done everything to the point where, I guess you could say effectively he's numb, because nothing gets that spark going in him.
Yeah,
so that's why
he's basically after. I wrote this down. He's like after the biggest pleasure and sensation in life.
Ultimate sensation.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. What else we got? Lazarus is resurrection. And that's a key point with this film.
Yes.
That one. That takes form of...
It's that weird, like, hexagonal thing, like the dagger thing.
Resembling a sloping rectangular prism.
That's the one.
And Leviathan. And now Leviathan is actually the ruler of hell. Leviathan is that I guess it is like it's like a 2 pyramids on top of each other, but it's elongated.
Yeah.
8-sided diamond with sharp points. Yeah, there we go. So that's what it is. But I also I love that we got more lore on the box. We saw it in the trailer. We got the book that Riley finds. We find all the info. Normally this would be sprinkled out through your franchise, through your films, but
no, they give it to you straight away.
Let's just get it in there because people like me are idiots and don't understand the story right away. So give me it all.
I I did like when Mark. I think the guy's name is Mark. It's the poor lad that he's not important to the story.
Sorry,
It's
you're
when
talking about the guy at the beginning in the party?
whatever his name is. I think
Joey.
it's Mark.
His name's Joey.
Joey. Okay, it's not
Yeah.
Mark. I don't know who Mark is. And I must admit, the great note was when he finally opens it, and he's kind of in the background.
Yeah.
And you hear that jangling, and I was sitting there going, "Oh, that's the chains. Here they come." And you just see Joey he just stands there as these things just hit him, and you just see him slowly get pulled away. As Ronan's like, "Oh, hi there. I got a little request of you. Yes, and I've got the box." So I was like, "Yes, they've brought the chains back. Yes."
That was a
That's
really good shot. The fact it was happening in the background.
Yeah.
You were more
And again,
focused on the crazy millionaire in the front, while he doesn't give a shit that
No.
someone is being massacred in the background by demons. He has one focus, and it's his sensational pleasure that he's after.
This man is he does not care in the slight. But then I suppose if you were him, you were completely numb to everything. You knew you had to sacrifice people. You probably wouldn't care. But then if you knew that there was something else beyond this world, you think, well, he's probably going somewhere else as well. Now he's been chained up and hooked. I'm about to go somewhere else, so screw it. There you go. For some reason feels like a Saw type premise is about to occur. But I don't know what that is. So never mind. Just move on for that. The one thing I did note. My next note was, I think it was around about this time that I paused the film, and I was like, oh, I want to know how long this film actually is. And it's a very long film. It's about it's about 2 hours and a bit in terms of runtime. And I must admit, my first thought was like, okay, the first Hellraiser was only about an hour and a half. It's quite short. And so for a film that was over 2 hours long, I did think, ooh, is this gonna get a little bit boring? I mean, no, it didn't, but there were moments where I was sitting there just going, this is not really important. Can we just crack on a bit here?
I agree. I agree with mostly. I felt the plot, like a lot of modern horror films, I think, suffers from this more than older 80s horror films, where there's a plot that really you don't care about. You don't care about at all, and has nothing to do with the film really. But I felt the plot of Riley, our main heroine, we can call that, who has probably been on heroin because she's a recovering addict.
Yeah, she is.
Is basically being played by her boyfriend Trevor, who I could tell from the beginning he was gonna betray her. I could just tell there was something about him that he was a scumbag, and I didn't think he was on the.
I didn't get that, but when it does happen, I went, "You deserve everything that's coming to you."
Yeah, but sorry, go on.
No, keep going on your note, because this is a different note entirely.
I was just quickly running back talking about the plot base, about how Riley, recovering addict, living with her brother, I've got name Matt, his boyfriend Colin, and their roommate Nora,
friend?
Roommate, who she was the one I cared about the least. She felt very shoehorned in.
Yeah, Nora, it doesn't do much.
Colin being the boyfriend of Matt is fine, because Matt eventually disappears because of Riley messing around with the configuration box. Spoiler, she gets the box.
Yes, right.
So that kind of works. But yeah, there's the recovering addict story, Nora. There's just a few bits I didn't feel. I think you could have just gone with her and her brother having a conflict, brother disappearing, and then her trying to figure out what the fuck's going on with the box. And
that's kind of what I meant. Is there's elements in this film where obviously they're trying to build up the characters, and again, I mean, the characters in this film, they're not detestable. I mean, some of them you do feel probably didn't need. I mean, we obviously you got Matt, Riley, the boyfriend Colin,
Trevor,
Nora, and again you might think, well, you could have just had, you didn't need Nora. You could just have, Matt goes missing and Riley goes, I'm gonna go find him.
Yeah,
and off she goes. So they did add another cat. Obviously, I think they had to, because the later on down the film, when they get to the Voight's mansion, you kind of need more people.
Yes,
otherwise
you need kills.
You need kills, because the way that the film at that point ends, you think, all right, well, you'd need them there to do that. You actually need him for that. Okay, you need this many people. which is fine.
You need the
But
kills for the lament configurations. You need a certain amount. So, and
yeah,
where like the original, Julia just kept getting men. She get any men. So, yeah, you need the kills.
What I did notice that I did think it was interesting was, one of my notes was I like the new concept for the box where I think we said earlier, rather than you just solve it, it hurts you. You have to, again, you have to sacrifice something. You are sacrificing your blood to, change the configuration. But I did notice that in the original film, the Cenobites don't grant the boons. That was new. I thought that was interesting. Whereas each new configuration, you can either say, right, well, this is not the one I want, so I'm going to go sacrifice someone else. This is the one I want. And I thought that was nice. Again, it's a hard reboot where they're going, right, well, we're taking literally the name and the overall concept, but then they went, right, how can we add stuff? So they add new lore into this film all the time, and it is really good. We got the notebook, the boons, the new configurations. It was, that was nice.
It's not over the top additions. It's just sprinkling in bits that help with the story.
Yeah, exactly.
I was talking about the plot. Like, she's the recovering addict, and that is the one kind of thing that really it kind of helps with the progressing story of Matt's disappearance, because they have a fight. She runs away with the box and blacks out after she solved it, and blacking out, passing out. She could have taken drugs or whatever. So that kind of blends well with the recovering addict story. But other than that, it's not really focused on for much more of the film. It's only focused on for the first act, maybe.
Yeah, the film, if you watch it, it does really feel like it's kind of the first part of the film, maybe the first half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we'll just focus on Riley. It's like, right, Riley and Trevor and Nora, they're trying to find Matt. They go here, they go there. So all this build up and build up. I will admit, I watched this film in two parts because it was getting to a little bit in this first part of this film.
Yeah.
I was sitting there thinking, okay, not much is happening here. And that's where the issue came in. I was like, right, the first one was only an hour and a half, and they're straight in. They give a little bit of a build up, but then it's right, she solves it, stuff goes mad. Whereas here it was like, okay, I've got this box, Matt's missing. Where is he? I don't know. Then they find a bit of a clue. It's like, okay, right, well, where'd you get this from? Oh, I got it from that shipping container. It's like, okay.
Yeah, the one that Trevor convinced her to steal because there was going to be
because they robbed stuff.
A reward,
big payoff.
Yeah, big payoff.
And then it's like, oh, when do we get this? Who's this? Oh, I don't know. It's like, I'll call my guy. It's like, all right. Like, it's like, just come on, you could literally get there and go, right, who owns this? Roland Voigt. All right, there we go. Off we go.
Let's speed it up a bit.
Yeah, you could speed up a bit, and so that was one of the. I mean, it's not a massive nitpick, but they could have made it a little bit quicker. Is all I'm saying.
I agree. It's a tough one with Hellraiser, I think, because everyone, when you talk about classic slashers, the killers, you go with the Freddy, the Jason, the Michael, the Leatherface, and people add Pinhead to that line, but Pinhead isn't really a slasher. The Hellraiser's not even really a slasher. It's a very different type of
more of a psychological thriller.
Yeah,
not it's like Event Horizon. Event Horizon's not a slasher film.
No,
it's weird. It's a horror film. Yes, definitely, but it's more of a cerebral, mind buggery thing.
Yeah, Pinhead film. Doesn't choose to go on a killing spree.
No,
at all.
No. Well, one of the films he does.
It's just because he's an iconic 80s horror icon.
Is it Hellraiser 4 where they just start massacring the town with the CD monster?
But I'm genuinely intrigued to go back and start watching the shitty ones.
I think it's Hellraiser 4 where they have this big bloodbath in a DJ booth club, and they turn the DJ into a cenobite, and he's walking around shooting CDs out of his mouth. At that point in time, you sit there going, "Okay, right." I think it's Hellraiser 4. I'll send you a picture of him. It's just, actually, I'm going to find a picture of him for you now.
The only other Hellraiser I've seen in the franchise is Inferno, which came out in 2000 on video, and it's basically like a kind of Groundhog Day some guy who solves the box keeps reliving like suffering every day.
He's literally called the CD Cenobite.
Of course he is.
There we go. Let's copy image. Let's post them in here for you.
Have a look.
Oh no, not to them. There you go. The CD Cenobite.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he's even got CDs in his head.
But it looks so dull. It looks so
film was
dull.
not that good. I mean,
as a design.
I borrowed the Hellraiser during must have been during lockdown or one of the lockdowns where you could like see someone but from a distance.
Yeah.
And I met with a guy I was working on a series with, and I said, "Oh, can I borrow your Hellraiser stuff?" And he went, "Yeah, of course." And he goes, "Yeah, watch 1 to 3, don't watch 4." And I was like, "No, I got to watch them all." And I was a bit through 4, and I went, "I can see why." It's not good.
Folks at home, you want to get into Hellraiser? You've just got into horror. Just watch 1 and 2, maybe 3, and watch this one. That's all you need to do. You had an opinion, a thought.
I had an opinion. Yes,
a thing you were about to say, a thought.
A thing. It's a segue. Going back to our last episode, Terrifier 2. Do go and check it out.
Do go check it out.
We discussed the latest film, the Terrifier sequel. It was, again, not as good as the original, but it was nice. It's nice. And in that episode, I mentioned that it's great how the guy who plays Art, David Howard Thornton, I always say his name wrong.
I always say David Gordon Green.
Yeah. He doesn't look anything like Art the Clown. You know, he can go out and about because of the makeup.
I know exactly what you're going to say. I know exactly what you're going to say.
And Damien Leone, as you know, we mentioned during the break, you know, he did a lot behind the scenes, and it's because they put a little like art kind of face over his face apart from his lips.
Did you see that video earlier?
Yeah, and I sat there going,
yeah.
That's why he looks different, because it's not his actual face that we're seeing. It's a prosthetic mask.
It's a whole prosthetic head cast.
Head setup
out of latex. Yeah, I believe it's a silicone latex one. And you could see at the end of that video, he adds in the fake teeth as well to make him look more like a chatterer. Speaking of
have you seen him signing stuff? So he went to a Comic-Con somewhere in the States dressed as Art the Clown, and they said, "Oh, could you sign our horrible?" Yeah. And he went, "Okay," and he signed this thing, and it went on and 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 on, and he even signs it. Even then, at the bottom went Art the Clown, and he draws a little clown face, and I was like, "That man is properly enjoying his role as Art."
He's I feel like he's going to start getting more roles. Like, I can never remember the name. There's a famous Hollywood actor who plays. He's a very, very tall and slim guy, and he's specific. I know he plays a character in Pan's Labyrinth.
He did the Slender Man as well. I think he was Slender Man. He plays very tall, very lanky characters, doesn't he?
Yes, he played the character, the monster in the shape of water. Like, he plays. Oh God, who is it? It's going to bother me now. It's going to bother me now. And keep talking, Tom. Keep talking.
It's very tall lad.
Doug Jones. Doug Jones. There we go. I found him.
Yes, that's the one.
Doug Jones. He has been around. He was in Hellboy, the other one.
Oh yes.
So
Abe.
And many other films. But the point is, Art the Clown actor David Howard Thornton. I feel like because he's now going to be Grinch. He's the Grinch in that new horror film.
Is he?
Yes, didn't know that. He is. He is. So I feel like he's going to become one of those actors that you'll see playing different monster parts or non-human parts.
I think it'll be that film that comes out. It'll be like a horror film that comes out, and it's like, and David Howard Thornton as Dr. Winston Flower, the heroic man. People are like, no.
Dr. Winston.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a name. It was like Winston. I've got a flower in front of me, so it's like Flower. You know, people are like, no, he's the monster. Get it right. He's the monster, not Dr. Flower. It's because I was about to say Indiana Jones, but I thought, no, I can't say that because that's already taken.
Dr. Melthand.
Although if anyone wants to make a character Dr. Winston Flower, all right, you heard it here first. Royalties, please.
Speaking of, actually, what you were talking about, how David Howard Thornton playing Art the Clown. Jamie Clayton, the actress who plays not Pinhead. She's not called Pinhead. She is labeled as the priest or priestess, which I like. It's different. Again, it's a nice little tweak to the original, but it's still Pinhead. Well, I didn't realize Jamie Clayton is a trans woman.
Oh, well, I didn't know that either.
So we have a trans. I think that's. Yeah, I had no idea. I mean, that's awesome. It's great. It's fantastic. And she does an incredible role, I feel.
I mean, that's a nice little... I think that's a nice little touch, because obviously... Oh my god, I can't remember who wrote this book. That's Clive Barker.
Yes, Clive Barker.
Obviously, when he grew up, he was... he didn't have the best growing up, shall we say. His backstory, he was around these cultures. So I think that's quite nice that they've cast a trans person in that, because obviously when he grew up, he was a cool boy. He went through these cultures. It was, that was his life growing up. Oh, that's really cool. And also the priestess is a nice little touch back to the original book, The Hellbound Heart.
Yes. Because
that is what Pinhead is the nickname. That's the thing. Pinhead was never Clive Barker's name for him. And in fact, Clive Barker hated the name Pinhead. He absolutely hates it with a passion. Well, he did before he passed away. So I like the fact that they called her the priestess rather than going Pinhead, because it wasn't supposed to be called Pinhead.
Is my NECA figure here, folks, for the video viewers? My NECA figure of the Hellraiser. I don't know if it is actually labeled Pinhead, Ultimate Pinhead, apparently.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, there's no mention in the original books for a Pinhead. It was done by, it might have been done by the makeup team, because of the amount of times they had to put the pins in place. I think they got to the point where we're just going to call you Pinhead.
I do think the priest and the priest, we could say, and the priestess. I think that's a cooler title than Pinhead, because he has pins in his head. Of course, it's like Leatherface being called Leatherface. Yeah, of course, but
I think his official title is the High Priest of Hell, which let's face it,
so dope.
Yeah, much better than Pinhead. You got to be honest. So I think
this is a really dope figure. Look at that.
Yeah, I must admit, I almost bought that the other day. It was a choice between that and my Friday the 13th Part 2 one, but Jason's my boy, so I had to get that one.
Very, very quick side note before we get back into it. I added Friday the 13th Part 4 NECA figure to my Christmas list, so fingers crossed. Yes. Anyway, Priest, Jamie Hayton. We have two. I think we have two great female actors in this. We have Jamie Clayton playing the priest, and she has a fantastic name. I've written it down here. Odessa. I'm going to butcher this. Azion.
Apologies.
Azion.
Yes.
Plays Riley. So we have a great female protagonist and a great female antagonist. Although you could kind of class Roland as the main antagonist, I guess.
No, I would class him as a secondary one, because spoilers, he's not dead. He is, well, I don't know, actually.
Oh, we'll get into his mechanism in a minute, because we need to talk about that. Yeah,
that is, I saw that, and and it was great. It invoked feelings of watching the first one. I was sitting there and I was just like, oh god, can you imagine having that done to you? That would just be horrible.
Yeah.
Odessa Azion. Yeah.
Azion, I believe. Yeah, and I feel like she did a really. I mean, granted, her character was a recovering addict, but I think she did a really good job of portraying, like really showing the emphasis on. I don't know. She was just a full downward spiral the whole film for her character. Recovering addict, loses her brother. Her brother goes missing. She's still dealing with addiction still through, and trying to get money. I think she's trying to make money. She gets kicked out of a flat, and now she's having to deal with these fucking demons. I mean, that's the icing on the cake to anyone.
She has a bad couple of days. My brother goes missing. Bad couple of days. But that doesn't actually bring back to a little segue into what I was going to mention.
Yeah,
is the set changes that happen when the cenobites start to change reality. Oh, they are cool.
Yeah.
In the original film, they'd open a door and you'd walk through, and it's like, the doors to hell.
Yeah.
It's like that. For back in 1987, that you open the door and it's a CGI, not CGI, sorry, a screen that they're playing
Yeah.
with hell on the background. For the time it looked cool, but it's when Matt goes missing or Riley enters the toilet where she thinks he is, or he goes into the toilet and then vanishes, and you get to see all the tiles. They just start to come apart.
Yeah.
To reveal hell, and I just sat there going, "That is amazing. That is really cool." And they continue that throughout the film. Every time the Cenobites come to claim one of them, you're sitting there and you can just hear the noise as like something falls away, and they turn around like, "Oh, that door's gone. Oh no, I'm stuck." And you can see the panic in their eyes, like, "I'm now stuck in a long corridor with a Cenobite. I'm buggered."
It's a very seamless transition at times to this dark, dank labyrinth in my basic labyrinth. Like it's like the labyrinth maze of hell in Hellraiser 2 that Kirsty ends up in. Very gritty, very grimy, bricky labyrinth where at any corner there could be a Cenobite or chains flying at you. Yeah, it's a really good transitions. Like the street just opening up to some stairs going down into the labyrinth, or
It's I again, and this is why I found myself enjoying this film, is they didn't just copy the original. They went, okay, let's build upon it. The groundwork is there. Let's build upon it, and they keep building upon it.
Yeah,
and it's very well done. It's very well done. I must admit, my one of my biggest note was, "Oh, the Chatterer is back," and I was like,
yeah,
yes, because let's face it, the Chatterer is one of those. He's one of those Cenobites that like turns up but doesn't really do much. If I remember rightly, he doesn't actually torture anyone. He just sits there and
I managed to get the list of all the Cenobites that are in this film.
There's quite a lot in this one compared to the original one. There's only 3. In this one, there's a lot.
There's a lot, but there's only a couple that you see maybe in a couple of scenes. The rest are more frequent. So we got the priest/priestess, which is female Pinhead. We've got the Chatterer, which you just said, chattering teeth. We've got the Weeper, which is the crime one, basically.
Oh yeah,
but it also looks like it's got like it's sort of not armor, but straight up pieces of flesh sticking out. You've got the Gasp. The Gasp was more.
That's like the Deep Throat one.
Yes, played by I can't remember her name. It's an Asian actress. I should probably.
Oh, I have the name here. I've got the names of the actresses. So we have again, apologies if I've butchered this name. Yinka Runif was the Weeper.
There's some butchering going on.
That's a butcher name. I'm so sorry. Selena Lowe was the Gasp. There you go.
The Gasp. Yes. So I was only noting it out because of the fact she was the only Cenobite that looked of Asian descent. Should we say?
Yes.
Yeah. And her throat, is completely sliced open and wrapped around her head. It's fantastic.
I know. It's great. But
Asphyx.
Yes, that's Zachary King,
which is basically being asphyxiated by what looks like another portion of skin. Yeah.
Yep. Lovely.
The mask or the mask.
The mask. Yeah. Vukasin Jovanik. Oh, sorry if I butchered your name.
Oh, we're awful.
I'm so sorry. we don't mean to butcher your names. We do apologise.
And that one is basically wearing it's basically a Leatherface, basically wearing the human face as a mask. And then there's the Mother, which we barely see.
Mother. Oh,
there is it's basically a pregnant looking Cenobite.
Oh yeah, that one.
And we barely see it. The ones that are really featured the most are the Chatterer, the Weeper, the Gasp, and the Asphyx. We see the mask briefly. It was in the trailer. I believe it's at a scene where Nora has been captured in the labyrinth.
I'm just going to try and pronounce her name. Again, apologies. Her name is... her name is Gorika Regodic. Probably not how I pronounce her name. I do apologise.
Gorika Regod. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's a tough name to pronounce for us stupid.
There's a lot of feel like Eastern European Scandinavian people in this film, predominantly from looking at these names again, which I've probably butchered. I do apologize.
You say that. I mean, the first part of the film, the first scene, is set in, is it Serbia? I think it's Eastern Europe. I don't know if it's specifically
Serbia, something like that. Yeah.
Whenever, anywhere like
the
that in
nurse
Eastern.
gets the...
Yes, whenever like that is shown on film, like an Eastern European place, it's always shown like it's just obviously what's going on with Ukraine. It's shit, but it's always shown like it's been in a war. It's straight from the Cold War. It's always shown dark, grey, and just
very
quite
1980s, very early.
1980s, very like you got in Hostel, you know. And to me, that's it. I put that down on a note in my category of settings / locations because we already talked about the labyrinth. We'll probably talk about the mansion. Eastern Europe just terrifies me.
Yeah, I never want to go there because I've seen Hostel. I'm like, nope.
I've seen Hostel too. Yeah.
Do you want to go to Serbia? Do you want to go to no?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm good. I'm right. I'm not getting off this train.
But I mean, no, go on.
I did think though that this is one of the things that I thought was a bit of a negative. This was one of the negative things I had. This in the original Hellraiser, they didn't shy away from, when they tortured someone, they didn't shy away from it. They showed you, they showed the hooks going in and the skin getting pulled. I mean, they do this in this film in 2022, but it's very watered down, incredibly watered down, to the point where, like we said at the start of the film, Joey's, getting dragged off, but you don't see it. A lot of the time when they like with Matt, he's getting tortured, but again, you don't see it. They cut away. They always cut away, and it's only, I think it's when Nora dies. That's the first time you fully see them. She gets horrifically, and Voight's eventual,
at the end,
final fate. There's only about two times in this film that you really see the Cenobites going, all right, we're gonna fuck you up. Here we go.
Yeah, Nora's death is really quite graphic. She's
brutal.
She's hooked. She's chained. She's flung up in midair, and she's completely flayed and completely decimated. But it feels like they focus more on the plot rather than the violence, to the brutality of it.
I mean, they probably were told, like, tone it down a bit. I mean, that's fair enough. I mean, if they wanted to focus on the plot, that's fine. But I think, part of the Hellraiser, the Hellraiser franchise doesn't shy away from body horror. It's probably one of the more mainstream body horror franchises that you're going to get. I just felt like, they probably didn't need to shy away from it. It's like, it's a Hellraiser film. The people who are going to go see it, probably aware they're going to see some nasty stuff. I mean, you just got to look at the Cenobites, and they're like, half of their design is, got skin missing, it's been pulled, it's been stuck. So,
I'm glad you went back to the Cenobites because like they're fantastic designs. It's quite a cool. I guess it's someone's job, but saying right, we want to include some new Cenobites. Can you come up with some ways that your flesh can be manipulated to look absolutely horrific in a cool costume-like way? So obviously the Weeper and the Gasp are new, with the throat slit open going around. That's quite a cool. You could probably source BDSM places, like really serious like BDSM places for ideas. But the one thing that kind of there's a bit of a downer for me with the Cenobites, half of them look too clean and airbrushed.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
The priest specifically looked very clean. Doug Bradley and the original Pinhead, the original Cenobites, they looked really gritty and dirty and like they were monsters, like they were demons. They were demons.
I did have that note as well. I must admit there were, again, with, like you said, with the priestess, there were a few bits on her look. I was thinking, oh, is that CGI? That looks a little bit over with obviously the way that they so if we go with the priest in the first film. You can tell it's a costume. It's got the leather outfits on. It's very much leather and BDSM at the time. Whereas obviously in the new one, it's designed. Her skin has been designed to look like the outfit, and that's a cool design. But there were moments when I was looking at it thinking, "Oh, that looks like that's been post added in production. They've gone right. We can't actually work that out, so just like CGI twist it a bit."
I think she you add that iconic. I guess the pins are more iconic, but you add that iconic black duster.
Yes.
The duster coat to her.
Obviously, the priest in the first film, it's the priest in the, I think the Chatteran. I think it's Butterball. It's a Butterball. I think it's Butterball.
Oh, the
That's
fat one, yeah.
the greed one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all black and it's black outfits. That's what they're wearing. Whereas in this one, the female Butterball, the priestess it's white. It's a white uniform. This outfit, skin. I don't know, whatever it is, but they all had different colors. I think, which was quite nice actually. So you had the priestess was all in white. You had what's the not the gasp? Who's the asphyx?
Which one?
Was
Asphyx,
like a weird,
yes.
like browny, dirty looking color.
Yeah.
What on earth is that on my top? I've spilled something on my top. I do apologize. I've just been doing that, going, oh, what is that?
The original female cenobite from the first one, she had a very sleek, cool leather jacket on. Yeah. It was very fitting to her shape, in a way. Yeah. So it differentiated from Doug Bradley Pinhead's long, drooping duster jacket. I know, I just like the black. Forget whatever she's gonna wear. The black attire, I think, makes it. It contrasts well with the light skin. Light and dark. They contrast very well.
I think Doug Bradley himself said it was the way that he imagined it was. When you get into the hell domain, the hell is a prison. If you go to hell, you're gonna get tortured. It's it's a prison cell. So he's got so the souls are in prison, the maze is the prison, the cenobites are the prison guards, and the high priest is the prison warden. So nothing. He sees everything, and then you got Leviathan, which is
looking over everything.
Leviathan is the prison god. It's like this is my world. I control it.
I appreciate that the ruler of hell isn't a horned devil, isn't a stereotype. It's some entity.
Well, that's the thing. They call it Leviathan, and the high priest can communicate with it.
Yeah.
But you never. I mean, it could be there's something inside, because you see inside Leviathan. Because in the end of, I think it's Hellraiser 2, and this one, someone is inside there, but you never see it. In the end, you hear them, but you're still sitting thinking, well, what is this thing? What is Leviathan? Because you never see it.
Maybe it's like in Men in Black, we got that little alien inside control. Just a little demon just controlling it. Like,
hello. Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
I did take a note, which was the priestess isn't really in this film a lot. She's only in it for about 50 minutes. So there's about an hour and 10 where it's others, which again is a great departure from the original film, where Pinhead was in it all the time. He was the one that always communicated with Kirsty, because the other two didn't speak. I think Bing just went a lot.
I mean, he's also the cover boy.
He is.
It is on VHS. This is a reprint on VHS, folks. This is a 91 reprint. But I mean, he's 2/3 of the cover here. So
there you go.
And he's on the back twice with Butterball. There's your Butterball.
There he is.
There he
is. Oh, Butterball. And there's Frank at the top there with Julia.
Yeah.
Oh, there's that. Oh, I must admit, I was grossed out when
the kissing scene.
It's in the. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say.
I mean,
yeah.
If he's her true love, fair enough. But I was like, oh, no, that's disgusting. It's the fact that she had to snog this like slimy skeleton flesh thing.
It's court. It's basically a court.
I so would have loved to have been on set, just to go back to that set, just to hear the director go, right, here's your scene directions. You got to snog that. She just went, I'm sorry, what? It's like, oh, that would have been
It's a
great.
bit sloppy.
It's a bit sloppy, but just get on with it. Oh, that was fantastic.
So we briefly just sprinkled in like the plot and whatnot, and the story kind of after Matt's disappearance, it kind of just
it's a bit drawn out.
Yeah, it's basically down to this trying to work out where Matt's gone, the story behind the box, and basically what's going on with the demons. But they're trying to work it out, and which we then end up at the mansion, Roland's mansion, from the beginning, and that's where we discover Roland, which we mentioned earlier. He's been hiding there ever since in his secret walls and whatnot, and he has this contraption in him, which I had to look this up. I couldn't work it out what it was, and apparently it's twisting his nerve endings because he sought the pleasurable sensations. Yeah, now, it's not so much a reward, but it seems like the thing with Saw. You know, you'll get your escape, but you're gonna have to sacrifice some pain to get it.
Yeah, it's when you see that box, it's literally just it's basically like a giant tape recorder.
Yeah, it's going through him as well,
through his chest, and I think he describes it. So he wanted the ultimate sensation. And so basically what this device does is literally every 5 seconds or something, it's connected to his nerves and it pulls its nerves all the way through like that. So he's in perpetual pain. And it's an everlasting pain because he can't die. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So he's immortal with this every 5 seconds or every second or something, it pulls his nerves through. I mean, that would be excruciating pain.
Yeah. And it's in practical effects, and they look fantastic. The nerves twisting.
I did note one of the things I did. New chat is cool. I know we've talked about those. I did note that I didn't notice this at first. It's Voight's house is a box. I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
At the start when he looks up and you see like the grate, I was like, oh cool, that's a nice roof. But it's only when we get to the mansion later on, and Riley, she's fiddling about with the controls, and the top of the house starts to interlock and change. And I sat there watching this, going, "It's a box. How did I miss this? It's a lament configuration box.
Yeah.
He's built a mansion box." And I was, "Oh yes."
He's an eccentric, crazy millionaire who is obsessed with this box, and
he's been living in the walls.
He's researched it so much that he knows. He built this cage around it, and whatever the cage is made out of, these walls as well inside the house that can stop the cenobites from entering. And it feels like the hole at the top. It's like a diamond shape that opens and closes. Maybe he even knew about if he opened it, that's how Leviathan could get in.
Yeah, maybe.
I gotta know. Go on.
I must admit, though, the mansion as a box thing, I mean, it's done much cooler here. They did do it in another Hellraiser film in space, where they basically built a giant lament box in space, but we're not gonna.
I never saw that one.
Yeah, don't watch it. Basically,
no, I'm going to.
When slashers go to space, it gets terrible. I mean, I'm waiting for the new Halloween, which is Michael Myers in space. Coming, he's gonna go there. You know he is.
What would that be called? Not Michael Myers. Not Halloween in space. What was a good way to describe space after like a subtitle for Halloween?
I mean, so what did Friday? Friday the 13th was Jason
X because it was the 10th.
So you could do, I don't know, Michael 3021.
Yeah, you could just do the second title a year.
Or Michael Space Slasher. Year. There you go.
Or just
Halloween on board the International Space Station. And it's just as the astronauts are there, you just see Michael float past the window. It's like, oh, there he is.
And then the other window is Jason flying.
Yeah. Even as he's just floating out of space, he's still faster than you. How's he still catching us?
He's just stuck in orbit. He's just stuck in orbit, going around. All these slashers are going to end up in space, just flying around the Earth.
We'll just have a ring around the Earth of slashers.
Of slashers, yeah.
They pass each other now and then. How you doing? Oh, hey.
Man, I'm very much more enticed now to watch these other Hellraiser films.
Oh,
we would tell everyone else to avoid them, but
then we watch them.
I now want to watch them. I want to experience, like how we experienced Halloween Resurrection again.
Yeah, well, I'd never seen that before, so that was
exactly.
I didn't think it was that bad, but I haven't seen, like I said, I haven't seen many Halloween films.
You're a crazy person.
So, yeah, I am a crazy person. There you go. I did notice the one thing though that I did think was interesting was when the Cenobites are changing reality with the set changes, they're opening up to hell. can the others actually see this, or is it just for the intended person? Because I believe
thought
there's a
that
bit
as well.
where I think it's with Nora.
Mm.
So they're changing the, I think it's the bar where they drag Nora in, because I think she cuts herself.
Yeah.
And they start dragging her in, but the other two lads are just sort of there, and they can't really see what's going on because the walls they change around her, and when they look back, oh, she's gone. Oh, hang on, where'd she go? And you would
Yeah.
think that much would make noise. I'm wondering if they can they can morph reality, but make it oblivious to people that they're not after at that point.
Yeah, I think I would say it's more down to whoever they're dealing with, whoever they're terrorizing is the one that sees the otherworldly experiences, shall we say, and no one else can really see that sort of reality. It can be far fetched. It's like we discussed with Terrified 2. It can be. If you're going to include one thing that's far fetched and completely out of this world, then you can include something completely anything else far fetched. They're demons from another world. It could be that reason, and you can give any reason for it. So I don't know if it's explained anywhere. That's my thought on it. But you don't have to justify it, really.
No, not really. Yeah, no. I mean, to be fair, like we said when we went to see Terrifier 2, you just have to, if you just let yourself go, you just immerse yourself.
Yeah,
you'll have a better time. I did notice that one of my notes was, oh shit, Pinhead. That was pretty nasty. I've just realised that's when they were killing Nora. Nora's death was painful, to say the least. Oh yeah, that was the thing that I must admit. I was waiting the whole. It's that classic quote, "We'll tear your soul apart." That iconic line.
Yeah.
And you think the priestess is going to say it. She goes to say it, and then nothing. And I sat there going, oh, I was like, I am so let down right now. It's like, I mean, I would have let you get away with it. No.
I don't even know. I can't remember now if she said, because you've got that line, but you've also got, we have such sights to show.
Yes. So she says that line.
Yeah.
And then it looks like she's about to say the next, we'll tear your soul apart.
Yeah.
She never says it. She just goes, and that's it. I was like, oh no. He was so close. But maybe they're saving that for the sequel. I don't know.
I think it's been signed off. I think a sequel was signed off. Because, I mean, the reason for this film was because of the success of Halloween 2018.
And probably Scream 6.
Scream 5.
Scream 5, sorry, yes.
Well, I mean, Scream 5 came out this year. Halloween 2018 was 2018.
Oh,
and this started in production 2019. And yeah, I think it was for the success of that. They figured, all right, franchise can come back if we do it right. If we take a new direction with it.
I would say, in terms of the legacy franchises, for the classic ones that's still going, I'd probably say this one and Scream 5, probably the two best ones.
Yeah. Texas Chainsaw certainly didn't.
We're never going back there again. And the Halloween 2018 was good. It was a good take. Kills, I don't want to talk about Kills again. And Ends is divisive. So, there you go. Anyway, back to this film.
Yeah.
One thing that was new again was, I believe it's not Kirsten. I'm getting my name. Riley. Sorry.
Yeah.
Riley gets hold of the lament thing. So she gets it off Roland Voight, who I think he gets his seventh wish to be. He asked for Leviathan.
Yeah.
And basically Leviathan goes, okay, we'll do this. So they unleash his. Oh no, sorry. So he asks. I can't remember what he asked for, but basically the Cenobites are so impressed with his drive or something. They offer him the chance to become one of them. That was it.
Yeah, basically, towards the end, obviously, we go through the plot. Riley doesn't choose the configuration to resurrect her brother. She chooses the gift of lament, which is basically to live live with her life, but also live with the guilt and loss of her brother. So that's kind of the double side, either side of the coin. Yeah, the torment itself. Instead of choosing to resurrect, because if she chose to resurrect, there would have been probably even worse repercussions that she would have had to deal with, probably even painful ones that like Roland had to deal with. And because of that in theory ended her storyline. But with Roland's, he ended up being a cenobite at the end. By they took out his mechanism, and then the big hook came down. And literally an anchor grabs him, pulls him up, and that's a really interesting shot right at the end where he's basically in, I don't know, limbo or the heavens or whatever.
He's in Leviathan.
He's in Leviathan, right? And he's becoming a cenobite. His skin has been ripped off. It's a great transformation.
Oh yeah, well that's what reminds me, because that's why I was saying about earlier. You never see what Leviathan is, because you can hear the voice in the background saying, you will become, something else. So you can hear the voice of it, but you never, obviously, whatever Leviathan is, we're not, privy to that information right now. But yeah, Roland's transformation, he's on that machine thing.
Yeah.
And you just his skin is just like, and just twisting. I sat there just feeling, because everyone does this where you're out and about and you get that little cut where you accidentally rip your skin and it is so painful.
Yeah.
And to have that multiplied is,
There's a fantastic comic of one of my favorite comic illustrators about that. I know you're pointing at your finger and it's that little bit of skin that comes down that you think is just going to keep coming down. I know exactly what you're talking about.
See, that's in I was at work today and I crunched my finger and I was like, okay, it's not too bad. But anytime you get that little cut, you're just like, oh no, I think I know the one you're talking about. I don't know if I want to see this.
It's by artist Adam Ellis. He's a really cool illustrator. It's not the best quality. I don't know why it's not the best quality. I've just sent it to you in Discord chat. Have a look at this. So it's like,
okay, that's what I was thinking.
Oh no, wait, it starts with this one and then ends with the one I've just sent you. So no, it won't do it.
That's literally it. Oh god.
Yeah. So you've got that little bit of skin just by your nail, and you start to pick it, and then it gets worse. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse, and then your whole skin has come off. Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I hate that. That's the worst. That's the one thing. Any time I do that to like myself, and you get that little bit of skin. And the thing is, you always pick at it. I don't know. I always do it. I'm like, oh, it's alright. It won't be too. And then you're like,
I may as well be a cenobite now.
May as well be a cenobite. Pass me my razor. Here we go. Let's just get all this off. Pass me my cheese grater.
Cheese grater and your sewing needle, so you can sew it all in various ways back to a different. And get the metal wire in and
get my little hammer. Yeah, there we go. Just put the pins.
You'll basically be talking like those smokers that have to do that with the machine on their throat.
I have nightmares about that tonight.
A little interesting note. I thought it was quite clever. The mansion. You're talking about how it's like a box. It's got the trap. It's trap doors, and it's got the cage that can move, and all the mechanisms. It's very. What did I write down? Hang on. Gives the feel of like a really proper like haunted house. It's very isolated. It's in the middle of nowhere. Traps everywhere. It felt quite similar. I liked as far as the design to. If you've ever seen 13 Ghosts, mid 2000s mansion where there are ghosts inside the mansion, 13 of them, and it's been purposefully built to hold them and only let them, if they escape, maneuver and move in certain places. There's doors that they can't get through. There's walls they can't get through. Yeah. And it's I think it was built by a very eccentric person.
Yeah.
Very similar to that. I got very similar vibes to the 13 Ghost Mansion. Very fun film, 13 Ghosts.
Oh, 13 Ghosts is great.
Yeah.
We'll have to look at that in a future episode. It's Yeah, now I think I didn't connect those two when I watched this. But yeah, it is very 13 Ghosts. The only
Obviously,
exception is 13 Ghosts is pure glass.
yeah, which we're not going to talk about 13 Ghosts, but 13 Ghosts, you could just see through every single wall that there's a ghost at the other end of the house. He's right over there. I've got time to get away from him.
Where's the ghost? It's like, oh, there he is.
Obviously, this mansion in Hellraiser is a mansion. The 13 Ghosts one is basically...
It's a cube.
You couldn't even call it a house. It's just weird. It's just a very weird design.
It's basically like an art installation. Someone went, I'm going to build a giant glass house with doors and everything, so you got to like be very careful how you open them.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was quite an interesting point. Yeah.
Okay, well, fair enough.
I didn't really write down too much out. I think we've covered quite a lot, to be fair.
I've got to the end of my notes. I mean, I had a note which was For Whom the Bell Tolls. I think that's just because it reminded me of a bit like Metallica, so I just put that in. I'm assuming that some bells were tolling at some point.
I'm sure we could find one bit in the film there were. One last bit I did add is that I feel like smaller casts in horror films make for a much more competent and easier to follow horror movie.
Yeah.
Like we may have said, say like we weren't biggest fans of Nora or maybe even Trevor, but they all had their part and it was nice just to have a small cast. You had them, you had Roland, you had the I think she was an assistant, like an ex-assistant who got the box and then ended up in the mental asylum, who then got killed there.
Yeah, so she knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But she was safe from them because she hadn't cut herself. It was only when Riley and her argued about it, she cut herself, and that's when she went, because she knew that she knew she was fucked at that point.
Yeah.
And they did like some proper cigarette like burning to her. Oh, that was horrible.
Yeah, but as far as the cast, there's not many other people apart from the cenobites, obviously. And I feel like that really makes for a more competent film. You could just focus your focus onto them. You're not being introduced in Act 2 to a new group, to a new people, to a new villain. I was the real villain all along. No, I was the real villain all along.
Yeah, the more I would say that, I mean, horror films are very simple. You know, they're super simple, and that's all they have to be. You know, if you think about every single horror film you have, it's literally okay. Right, you have your final girl, final boy. They go somewhere they're not supposed to. They meet the bad guy. A lot of their friends and family die. They have a final confrontation. They survive. And that is, I mean, every single horror film, that is the plot, pretty much. The only difference is they have their quirks. So, Freddy does it in your dreams.
Oh, I wouldn't say I'd say your generic slashers. That's the plot. Because if I think of a horror film like Cube, that's definitely not the plot.
Your generic, your slasher horrors.
Yeah,
that's pretty much. But then, like I said, you have Freddy's dreams. Michael is, never speaks, keeps on going.
Yeah.
Jason lives in a camp and doesn't like people coming on his land. So those are really the only bits that change. But apart from that, it's pretty much right. You've gone somewhere you shouldn't have done. You found something you shouldn't have done. You've done something you shouldn't have done. Now you're going to pay for it. Pretty much.
Yeah. A lot of the time, it's not innocent victims being sought out after without causing any altercation or interaction to start the events happening. Something like Slumber Party Massacre is different, where it's literally a serial killer escaping, killing innocent people who have no involvement with this killer whatsoever.
I was going to suggest Saw, but then I thought no, because all of his victims.
No, they all have
something.
Yeah, they've all
done something
bad. Yeah.
Which we.
What happened there?
Whoa,
what happened there? I thought my internet crashed then.
Yeah.
Okay, he's back.
Oh, that was weird. Everything just literally crashed for a second.
Well, we wouldn't be recording if we didn't have tech issues.
No, but that was like a double tech issue. Okay, something happened there.
Yeah, that was really weird. Everything just went.
All right, Discord's been a bit funny with us.
Maybe that was a sign.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe
that's a
that's
sign
a
to wrap this up.
Discord's gone. Oh, you've had enough.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
so what were your final thoughts then on Hellraiser 2022? What would you think?
Jerry Springer, my final thoughts.
Yeah.
I think to sum it up perfectly was that it's not shit. It's not
No?
amazing. It's good. It's good. It's okay. I'd recommend it. I'd say you want to watch a new modern horror film? You can watch this perfectly fine. You don't need to know anything about the past Hellraiser films. You
No?
can start here if you want and then work your way back. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I think
I
the acting's good from
Mm.
Riley and the priest. The new cenobites are cool. The mansion's a cool set. The new lore into the box is great.
Yeah.
There's just a few bits that could have been chopped out. Similar to Terrifier 2. There's a few, like Terrifier 2 is a long film. A lot of that could have been chopped out. So there's just a few bits in this film that could have also been chopped out. But other than that, competent reboot of a horror franchise.
I would agree with that. And I would think that if you have seen the first Hellraiser and you haven't seen this one yet, definitely watch this one. But just go into it and just expect pretty much when you watch this film, it does is it's a nice hard reboot.
Yeah.
Doesn't stick its finger up at the original, and actually, it'll probably build upon your lore of Hellraiser because let's be honest, they really crack up the lore in this, and they do it in a way that you watch it thinking, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, that could probably happen.
Yeah, and I feel like as well this will definitely cater towards more of a younger horror fan. I think they'll enjoy this more. Like it's shot a hell of a lot more, I want to say professionally than the first one. Like we discussed, the first one felt like more of a TV film.
Yeah, it's not got the indie film. It feels like a studio film. Big studio film.
It feels polished and it feels like there's a lot more money thrown at it, which I think a lot more younger audience will appreciate rather than going back to an 80s film. Yeah. All in all, good. Just good. There we go. Good. It's a good film.
Well done, Hulu. Well done.
Speaking of good films, we have a good film next week.
Oh,
we have a great film next week.
Oh man, I've been waiting all year for this.
Yeah, T's birthday film. We have my birthday film. It's now time for your birthday film.
It's my birthday film. We're going to be doing Event Horizon. Yes,
we are indeed. Looking forward to it.
I purposely not watched this film again until now because it's been a while since I saw this. But it is just so good. Oh, it's just a nice space body horror film for you. Oh, yes.
Horror in space. It can be done. News journalist, whoever you are.
Space is terrifying, all right?
Space is terrifying. Every part of space is terrifying.
Yes.
So, until next time, you can find this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Podbean, YouTube, all by searching The Dreadcast.
Yeah, that's right.
Us. Sorry, I'm getting the cough again. I'm talking too much.
Oh, dear.
Where can you find us? You do that.
You can find us below on our socials. We are available on...
Dying.
Oh, you're dying. Okay. You can find us on Twitter.
Oh, God.
You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok. You might find us on Twitch. We haven't been on Twitch in a while, though. But there you go. Yeah. Never mind. You can find us on Instagram at @the_dreadcast. Oh, you still on Twitch?
Teacher, I'm putting my hand up.
Yes.
I'm thinking maybe we could try in the new year for maybe the first one or so of the new year. Or no, we try it for the anniversary stream. I spoiled it. We try a stream. We try a stream of an anniversary.
I must admit, I was thinking that too. I did think that'd be quite cool.
So that's just up in the ether.
Okay.
It might happen, it might not. If we can get it set up. Because we can't have any tech issues, we have to get that set up and we have to get everything timed right. So
my laptop would not cope with that, so that would have to be on a PC.
Yeah. So that was just a thought.
Okay. But yeah, so you can find the Dreadcast on Instagram at @the_dreadcast. You can find TikTok at @thedreadcast. You can then find me on Twitter at Tainted Souls and on Instagram at Tainted Souls. And you can find us on thedreadcastpodcast@gmail.com. Send us anything, literally anything. We will read it and reply to it.
Anything, we'll read it.
Sign us up for random stuff. We don't care.
anything you want. It's all good.
It's all good, except for train tickets to Serbia, because we don't want to go there because of Hostel or wherever that's filmed.
Yeah, I don't really want to go there. I don't want to do that.
No, not
really.
really.
Want to do that. No. Is there anything else? I think that's it. I think we got it all.
I think that's it. All of our socials are down.
They are beneath. Yeah, they are beneath. Event Horizon next week. New trailer breakdown coming soon. Not going to tell you what that is. Just check out on the YouTube channel. There is also the newest one.
I was about to say, you have the episode 1 of the Mortuary Assistant. That is out now as well. Very spooky, very creepy.
Yep, on the Dreadcast Plays. There is also the start of our shorts, which are going to come out whenever I clip them.
Yep.
Just some short clips. The first one is being of T's new NECA figures.
Yep. There is a second one as well now. You have the little shorts, which is available right now, from some little scary moments for the Mortuary Assistant. Do check that out. It's literally about a minute, so you've only got to give it a minute.
Oh, you need a thumbnail for that then?
No, I did that already.
Oh,
I basically did. I took your Mortuary, the very nice Mortuary Assistant one, and I went on Canva and I basically put a bit of tape over the Dreadcast, the plays bit, and put the Dreadcast super scary moments.
Lovely.
And that's about as far as my editing skills go.
That's why I do the designing then.
Yes.
All right then. Let's get out of it. Until next time, folks.
Stay creepy.